Hello friends, welcome to the fourth video in this series of videos on Introduction to Swift. In this video, we will learn about strings, characters, arrays, and dictionaries. Strings. A string is an ordered collection of characters and is represented by the string data type in Swift. You can use strings to insert constant, variables, literals, etc. into longer strings by using string interpolation. You can create a string either by using a string literal or by creating an instance of a string class. To create an empty string value, either assign an empty string literal to a variable or initialize a new string instance with initializer syntax. As you can see in the playground, we have created two strings, string A and string B. String A is created by assigning a string literal to a variable, whereas string B is created by using an instance of string. Strings created by using string instance are optional by default and thus needs to be unwrapped at their location of use by using an exclamation mark as shown here. If we try to print both the strings, we get same value. You indicate whether a particular string can be modified or not by assigning it to a variable or a constant. Strings assigned to a constant are not mutable. String interpolation is a way to construct new string values from a mix of constants, variables, literals, and expressions by including their values inside a string literal. Strings in Swift support wide range of functions. For example, isEmpty function when called for a string tells whether a string is empty or not. HasPrefix and HasSuffix functions are used to check if a parameter exists as a prefix or suffix to the string. ToInt function is used to pass the integer value from a string of integers. Count tells you the number of characters in the string. Unicode is an international standard for encoding, representing, and processing text in different writing systems. It enables you to represent almost any character from any language in a standardized form. UTF-8 and UTF-16 functions of strings can be used to represent UTF-8 and UTF-16 versions respectively. Unicode scalar is a unique 21-bit number for a character or modifier. Note that not all 21-bit Unicode scalars are assigned to a character. Some scalars are reserved for future assignments. As you can see in this example of using string functions, here we are trying to print a string if a string is empty or not, and as you can see this line prints false. Similarly, if we try to print if string A has prefix hel, then we get true. Along with some functions mentioned, you can perform some operations too on strings. For example, you can use plus sign to concatenate two strings. A compound addition assignment operator can be used to append one string to another string to form a larger string. Equals to comparison operator can be used to see if two strings are equal. You can even perform lexicographical comparison to determine whether one string is lesser than the other. As you can see, an example of concatenating two strings and also checking equality of two strings by using equals to comparison operator. Characters. A character in Swift is a character string literal represented by character data type. You have to mention data type character while defining the character variables or constants because type inference property of Swift deduces the type as string by default for the character type if not mentioned explicitly. Using two characters in the string literal of character data type gives a compiler error. Also, it is not possible to create an empty character variable or constant. We can access individual characters from the given string by iterating over its characters within loop. Characters property of a string gives all the characters in the string and allows us to iterate over them. We can concatenate a string and a character by using a function called append on the string variable. Here is an example of iterating over characters in string hello and trying to print the characters. Runs the loop 5 times, which is the number of characters, and prints them one by one. Arrays. Arrays are most commonly used data types in an application. Arrays in Swift are used to store ordered list of values of the same type. Swift puts strict type checking, which does not allow elements of different types in an array. If you assign a variable to an array, then it's mutable. Arrays assigned to constants are not. You can create an empty array just by mentioning the data type of the array in square brackets. You can even specify the size of the array and the initial value of its element by passing values to parameters count and repeating. For example, this creates an empty array RA. RB is an array of 3 elements with all the elements initialized to 0. RC is an array with 3 elements mentioned as 10, 20 and 30. All these arrays are of data type int and thus can take only integer values as their elements. You can retrieve the value of an element in an array by using subscript syntax, that is, by passing the index of the value within square brackets immediately after the array name. Array index is in Swift starts from 0, which means first element can be accessed using index 0, second element by using index 1 and so on. Elements can be added to a mutable array by using append function or by using addition assignment operator. You can modify an array element simply by assigning it to a new value. As you can see here, this print statement prints the value of element at 0th index, that is the first element of RB. This statement adds an element with value 2 to the array. You can see the modified array in the side pane. This statement just modifies the element at first index, that is the second element of the array RC, and sets its value to 60. You can use for in loop to iterate over the entire set of values in an array. You can also use enumerated function, which returns the index of an item along with the value. Two arrays can also be combined using an addition operator. Count function can be used to get the size of the array, and isEmpty property can be used to check if an array is empty or not. Here is an example of using for in loop to print all the elements of array RC. This is an example of using enumerated function to print the element's value along with its index. This is an example of concatenating two arrays RB and RC and assigning the concatenated array to RA. You can see the side pane and you can see in the side pane RA has all the elements of RC appended to RB. Dictionaries. Dictionaries in Swift are used to store unordered list of values of the same type. Swift dictionaries use a unique identifier known as key to store a value which later can be referenced and looked up through the same key. Unlike items in an array, dictionaries do not have any specific order and thus cannot be accessed using index. Items in dictionary are accessed using keys. A dictionary key can either be an integer or a string, and it should be unique within a dictionary. You can create an empty dictionary by mentioning the data type for key and value in square brackets as shown, or you can also mention the key value pairs explicitly. To retrieve a value from a dictionary, pass key to the key of the value you want to retrieve within the square brackets immediately after the name of the dictionary. As you can see, we have declared an empty dictionary dict A and dict B is declared with key value pairs for its item mentioned at the time of its declaration. You can use update value for key method to add an existing value to a key for the dictionary. This method returns an optional value of the dictionary's value type. You can modify an existing element by assigning new value to the given key for the given key in the dictionary. You can use the remove value for key method to remove key value pair from a dictionary. This method removes the key value pair if it exists and returns the removed value. Otherwise, it returns nil if there was no matching key in the dictionary. You can also remove a key value pair by just assigning the value to nil for that specific key. You can iterate over dictionaries just like that for arrays by using foreign loops or enumerated functions. For converting a dictionary to array, you will need two arrays, one for keys and one for values, and then you can access the key and value in their respective arrays by using index. Count and isEmpty property can also be applied on dictionaries just as on arrays to get the total number of elements and see if the dictionary is empty respectively. For example, in these statements, we have updated the values for keys 1, 2, and 3 in the dictionary dict A. This is an example of update value and this is an example for remove value functions to modify the dictionary. That's it in this video. In the next video, we will learn about functions, closures, enumerations, and structures in Swift programming. Thanks for watching.